Okay, bobsleigh. You know what's coming, but before we get there, let's pay homage quickly. The premise of bobsleigh appears pretty straightforward. The teams line up. The winners invariably shout, "Eins, zwei, drei," and then they push their sleds along the ice, jump in, and embark on a rapid descent down an icy chute at speeds up to 90 miles an hour. The teams are confined within a lightweight metal sled that offers little protection to the lycra-clad human body when it crashes. And they do crash. While the sport is obviously inherently dangerous, it pales in comparison to its earliest days when races took place through the winding streets of St. Moritz. Right, now we've got that out of the way. This is the Winter Olympic Series on the Sporting Almanac podcast, and it's time to feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, get on up. It's bobsled time. Cool running. It's here, Jack. The one that you've been waiting for. I think you've been looking forward to this one even more than I have, I think.
I've been looking forward to telling this story since before we started this podcast. Like, it's a story that the true story differs from the one that Hollywood told, and it's a story that Hollywood told that I think everyone of our generation finds beloved. It's a film we all loved, and it's a film we watched over and over again at school because there was very few choice of films to watch at school.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And the true story is just as good in a slightly different way.
Yeah. It's the story of the Jamaican bobsleigh team. And the movie that you're being so cryptic about is Cool Runnings.
I don't know why I'm being cryptic about it. One of John Candy's last ever movies.
Oh, yeah. That is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be the meat and drink of this episode, but we're going to dovetail it either side with a little quick intro to bobsleigh, just to make sure that everybody knows a little bit about the sport. Then we're going to go into the Jamaican bobsleigh team, and then we're going to tell you about a very interesting guy called Billy Fiske, who is a very successful bobsleigh driver from years gone by. But that's not the only interesting thing about his life, but we'll come to that.
Not the only vehicle he piloted, shall we say.
Precisely. So yeah, bobsleigh. 2-man, 4-man.
Those are the variations.
Men do both. Women do not. Women do a 2-man and a monobob. You can have mixed teams, but women are a lot lighter. So it's a big disadvantage to the team to have women in the team. So they tend not to, because obviously if you're heavier, you go downhill faster.
Indeed.
And the whole aim of this game is to go down faster. But like, mate, the history of bobsleigh is pretty wild. Should we give it a little synopsis?
I certainly think we should, yeah. So the first bobsleighs were built in the late 19th century in St. Moritz in Switzerland by wealthy tourists from, of course, that bastion of sport, Victorian Britain, who were staying at the Palace Hotel owned by a man named Caspar Badrat.
The reason I'm laughing is because this is so mental. This is like the most upper-class Victorian thing ever for bored rich people.
Yeah, bored rich people, probably with very little to do in the Swiss winter in St. Moritz, which is, it's a name synonymous with wealth and prestige, is St. Moritz. So tourists would race their hand-built contraptions down the narrow streets of St. Moritz. Sleds with no steering, which is mad, but I guess on your jollies, why not? They basically realised that longer sleds and steering would allow them to travel further through town. So basically, technology developed with the need in this case. However, as unsurprisingly, as collisions increased...
I want a joyride through St. Moritz, so I'm going to learn how to steer.
Exactly what they're doing. Honestly, it is. Oh, God, I can imagine the type of people doing this. Probably young men of a certain age with very few concerns, because any physical damage they cause, they'll just get daddy's checkbook out and problem will be solved very, very quickly. So, yeah, that's what I'm imagining in my head.
And there was damage.
And there was damage, of course, because...
there was damage to people.
Yeah, they crashed consistently into both buildings and people, which basically led to massive opposition, as you'd imagine, from the people of St. Moritz, which led to bobsledding eventually being banned from public highways. Boo, disgraceful. Who saw that coming? However, the demand was still there. So in the winter of 1884, Badrut had a high-purpose circuit built near the hamlet of Cresta, nearby. Formal competitions began down that natural ice Cresta Run in the same year, and the Cresta Run remains the oldest in the world, and it's the home of the St. Moritz Tobogganing Club. It has hosted 2 Olympic Winter Games in 1928 and 1948, so that is the crucible of this particular sport, where it has its origins, all down to bored Victorian young men, I imagine, and I'm guessing young men, but I might be wrong. Who knows?
No, I think you're spot on, mate. I think that is the demographic that was responsible for the birth of this sport. And it literally became a sport very quickly, though. Like the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation was established in 1923, so just before the first games, known as the IBSF, as you might imagine. And yeah, nowadays the modern bobsleigh team, they just compete in a downhill run. It's obviously the routes are different, number of turns, etc., etc. And it's just 3 runs usually. Fastest aggregate time to the bottom wins.
Yeah, you have to be quick and consistent.
Yeah, quick and consistent is the key. There is some technicality at the beginning when you have to run and hop in, pull the handles in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
On the 4-man, you basically have a pilot, 2 pushers and a brakeman, who's also a pusher, obviously. Yeah, and it's been in every game since 1924. The Chamonix Games, obviously see episode 1 of this series if you want to know more about that. The only exception was 1960 in Squaw Valley in California, where they basically just, I think we already mentioned this again on the first episode, refused to build a track, and the 2-man event came in 1932. Women only started contesting bobsleighing in 2002. The mono event, the mono bob, was introduced last time out, actually. But the key thing to remember is bobsleighing is very dangerous.
Very, very, very dangerous and terrifying. You wouldn't get me in one of those things if you paid me. Actually, you probably would. I probably would have a go at this, to be fair.
Whilst these episodes are out and I am in Canada, if I get my way, I am going to do a bobsleigh.
Really?
I have booked it.
Ah, amazing.
So I'm going to be going down the track in Whistler, which was the sliding centre that hosted the Vancouver Games.
2010, yeah.
It's also the track, mate, at which the world record was set in 2019.
Oh, really?
Where a bobsleigh went 97.5 miles an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's super fast, mate. Like, I think I haven't mentioned this yet, but turn 13 at the Whistler Sliding Centre used to be known as the 50-50 because it represented your probability of getting through the turn without crashing.
Oh, nice.
It's rather tragically the scene of the death of a Georgian luge athlete at the Games, whose name I will not butcher in his honour, but he was thrown from a sled and he hit a steel pillar. And obviously, I bring that up for 2 reasons, really, just to mention how dangerous the sport can be. And obviously that's the luge, not bobsleigh, but it shows the speeds and the sort of technical complexities of the tracks.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't know, like, waffling on here about bobsleigh itself, but it's dangerous, it's fast.
It's super dangerous. I mean, you're talking 5G in corners, which is an immense amount of G. That's like Formula 1 levels of G-force. And dangerous, obviously, as well. No seat belts, obviously. You crash, you can get thrown out, you can get crushed against your head crushed against the ice. Helmet's obviously mandatory, but one sledder described his experience during crashes as being equivalent to his head being inside a jet engine. There's things associated to it. Yeah, CTE as well. Yeah, things associated with it. Like there is a noticeably higher rate of suicide and overdose amongst athletes compared to the general population. So, and it's a sport which is very much not unfamiliar with fatalities, as the one you mentioned there, which I will have a go at pronouncing his name, sort of in his honour. Nomar Karitashvili, Georgian athlete, killed in 2010. Very, very tragic. But again, not obviously that's luge, but you can count all these sort of fast downhill luge, skeleton bobsleigh, all in the same category of utter terrifyingness. Yeah, dangerous sport.
I agree. And the Germans are the best at it by absolutely miles. They have 22 gold medals in this sport. The Swiss are second. They have 10. The Americans are third with 8. And yours truly, we're knocking about. We've got one.
Yeah.
We're 9th on the list.
Hey, that's not nothing.
We're not. That's not nothing. Especially as we say, we don't have a sliding centre here.
No.
So that's pretty cool. And there have been some unusual participants, some unusual nations. To name but a few: American Samoa, Netherlands Antilles, Nigeria, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, the Virgin Islands. But none of these suckers compare to the goats of bobsleighing.
The OGs, yeah. The Jamaican bobsleigh team. I mean, this is probably the most famous underdog story of all time. Obviously, it's immortalized in the Disney movie Cool Runnings, which is, it has, I mean, the details are changed in that film. The participants' names are changed. Obviously, the facts and a lot of things created for entertainment there. But the basic principle of it is pretty accurate. And the finale, particularly, which we'll come to, is very accurate indeed. And you can watch and you can compare the scenes from the film to the real life scenes and see just how accurate it is. So although real life coach Pat Brown did say his team never experienced any of the animosity that is present in the film from the other nations, and that is an important fact to consider.
Yeah, I like that, because it's like what we were saying about the Olympic spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, famously in the film, for those of you who have watched the film, it's a film about Jamaican sprinters, 3 Jamaican sprinters specifically, who in the film, they trip up or trip each other up in the qualifying heats for the Summer Olympics, trying to qualify for the 100 meters. So they all miss out as a result. And they join forces with a pushcart driver.
The lucky egg.
Yeah, the lucky egg, yeah. Oh, brilliant. And they...
Sanka.
It's brilliant. And join forces and become a bobsleigh team, being coached by a disgraced American former bobslayer, played by the wonderful and much missed John Candy. Yeah, there's similarities, but obviously that is very much a dramatization. So, what really happened? What is the true story? A man named George B. Fitch was the commercial attaché for the American Embassy in Kingston, in Jamaica, from 1985 to 1986. He suggested that Jamaica should begin competing in the Winter Olympics. Basically, his quote is saying, "You've got great athletes, and a great athlete should be able to do any sport."
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, no. And the connection to pushcarts was there as well. Fitch saw a local pushcart derby, and him and a businessman named William Mahoney proposed the idea of a Jamaican bobsleigh team specifically as a result of this, as it played well to, obviously a fast start is essential, and the one thing Jamaica produces in spades is sprinters.
Yeah, makes sense, mate. Like the push at the beginning, you need to be powerful, you need to be fast, and you need to be able to jump into a sled.
Other than that, all you need is balls of steel and someone to drive the car. So there we go. They proposed, obviously, to the president of the Jamaican Olympic Association at the time. He supported the idea, and so preparations were made to bring athletes into this team. So advertisements were placed describing
I like this.
dangerous and rigorous trials, which would form the basis of the country's first bobsleigh team. However, recruitment proved to be problematic, so the Jamaican Defence Force was asked for volunteers as a result.
The thing that's cool, though, like linking this back to the movie, mate, is in the movie that's depicted by people turning up and watching a video of lots of crashes, and then when it ends, they all just walk out.
Yeah, they all start. There's a room full of people they're trying to recruit, and at the end of it, there's only about 4 of them left because everyone else has walked out the room. Which, it's played for comedy purposes, but it's not unlike what happened.
Yeah. They literally advertised it as very, very dangerous, and people were like, "Not for me, thanks."
Yeah, but what this resulted in, it resulted in a team consisting of Devon Harris, Dudley Stokes, Michael White, Freddie Powell, Caswell Allen, and a last-minute replacement called Chris Stokes. We'll come back to how he gets into this. And their coach was a man named Howard Seiler, who was, like the film depicts, a Olympic bobsledder for the United States in the 1972 and 1980 Olympics. Obviously, in the film, he's a disgraced former athlete. I don't believe this was the case for this particular coach, but you've got to add to the drama.
I don't think it was. Yeah, yeah. What was he accused of? Putting weights on the front of his sled or something?
Weight in the front of the sled, so caused the team to get disqualified, which obviously led to him being a national disgrace. Obviously, when he got back to the United States, as you would expect. This is the film, I should say, not the real life.
The film,
just
not the real
just to
life.
Clarify, yes.
Yeah. Howard was a decent bloke.
Yeah. So they got funding. They got funding from Fitch and from the Jamaica Tourist Board as well, which probably turned out to be a very good investment in hindsight. Training was conducted in Canada and Austria in preparation for the 1988 Winter Olympics. Seb Heidecker was recruited as a coach, and the teams began to be featured in North American media with obviously a comical angle, because it is a crazy concept. Jamaica having a bobsleigh team, after all. So an agreement was reached with the Fédération Internationale de Bobsleigh et de Tobogganing. I don't know why I did that in a French accent, but there you go. It's the Bobsleigh and Tobogganing Federation. I'm sure you can work that out, I hope. I don't think I was that bad. Basically, an agreement was made in order to allow the entrance of the teams in both the 4-man and the 2-man events at the Games.
It's worth mentioning, mate, no, just very quickly, sorry, that this is the same 88 Olympic Games that Eddie the Eagle's at.
Yes, it is in Calgary. Calgary, Alberta in Canada.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome, yeah. So, once they got to Calgary, they conducted test runs on a frozen lake in order to get used to the conditions. But Caswell Allen fell and he was injured.
It's just like Eddie though, like on a frozen lake. Yeah.
And it's somewhat depicted in the film as well. They were them having trouble staying on their feet, obviously, and having to get used to walking on ice, which is probably not a learned skill that most Jamaican children pick up. If we're honest, walking on ice.
Yeah, but sorry, I interrupted you as you were about to tell us about Caswell getting injured, and I love this part of the story. Go on.
So, obviously, Dudley Stokes was one of the team members. Caswell Allen being one of the team members as well, he fell and he got injured. So a man named Chris Stokes, who was the brother of Dudley, and he was only in Canada to support his brother, he was added to the 4-man team 3 days before his first run, having never been in a bobsleigh before.
Wonderful.
It's amazing.
Like, just... wonderful stuff.
Oh, guys, the Olympics at its finest, this. So the first event Jamaica competed in was the 2-man bobsleigh. It was Dudley Stokes and Michael White in there. They became Jamaica's first ever Winter Olympians. In their first run, they finished in 34th position, ahead of the New Zealand second team. Both of the pairs from Portugal, the US Virgin Islands and Mexico. So, not last. Doing a good job so far.
Not last.
But they improved from there. They moved up to 22nd place after their second run, but were only in 31st place after their third run. Ended up finishing 1 place higher in 30th place during their fourth and final run. But, didn't shame themselves. Came up, they competed. They finished 30th place out of the 41 teams competing. And even if the story had ended there, it would be wonderful. However.
It would be.
However.
I love this as well, by the way. Like, the reason why they get so much media attention.
Yeah, so 1988, okay. The US Olympic ice hockey team, obviously it's a big deal. 1980, we talked about the Miracle on Ice already. But they did not have the tournament in 1988 that they had in 1980. They came fourth in their group of 6 with only 2 wins and 3 defeats, so they crashed out of the ice hockey tournament far earlier than they were expected to. Now, American TV, they need to fill airtime. They need constant airtime, play their advertisements, get their money in.
Yep.
We all know what American TV is like, 24-hour television, probably network TV, whatever it is in the 1980s. They need to fill airtime.
They need your attention. So how are they gonna get it? How could they possibly replace the American ice hockey team?
Well, they need to find something of interest to people, a story, a fish out of water story, as it were. And who best to focus on than the Jamaican bobsleigh team, specifically the 4-man event for the Jamaican bobsleigh team. So that's what they did.
That is what they did.
And in the 4-man event, their first run ended poorly. It went badly, their first run from the start. Dudley Stokes jumped into the bobsleigh. The push bar in the sleigh broke, resulting in the team coming third from last in 24th place. And that is actually somewhat represented in the movie as well, to be fair.
Yeah, they have difficulty, don't they, getting in?
They certainly do. On their second attempt, the team ranked second to last, due in part to White struggling to crouch properly in his seat, remaining almost upright through the first corner. Again, pretty much dictated in the movie.
Yeah, but in the movie they do it quite well because it's like the third guy can't sit down and he's like stood up. It's very good.
In the movie, it's wonderfully chaotic. Jamaica is sort of made out to be this laughing stock and the people in charge are like thinking about pulling them out and bringing them home and, it's bringing shame, this kind of thing. However, and we're back to real life here, it was the events of the third run which truly made the team famous. So, Stokes had injured his shoulder prior to the race, but he decided to continue with the run. The team set the 7th fastest start for all competitors. At the turn called the Kreisel, Stokes lost control of the bobsleigh, and it careened into the wall of the track and flipped on top of the 4 athletes. The 4 team members skidded
They skid for ages.
Yeah, they skid for ages, and this is the bit in the film which is most accurately depicted. If you put it side by side for the film to the actual crash, it's almost identical. And it is a huge crash. It's massive.
It's a huge crash.
They skid for a long way. They're sliding against their helmets. Obviously, we talk about the risk of head injury here. Their heads are like pressed to the side, like the pressure on their necks. It looks very, very scary. And they eventually slide to a stop. Fortunately, all 4 team members were able to climb out the bobsleigh. And between them, with the end so close, so near yet so far, so close to finishing their run, they righted the bobsleigh, and with the help of support staff, they walked it to the finish line, alongside cheers from the crowd who had fallen completely in love at this point with the underdogs. The team didn't complete the forefront of the event and subsequently were listed as not finishing the event and therefore were placing last overall. But that moment of them walking their sleigh to the finish line, which is somewhat depicted in the movie, they lift the sleigh up in the movie and it doesn't really matter. The moment is essentially the same. It is a team who the crowd have fallen in love with them and a true moment in the Olympic spirit. Obviously, similar things have happened in the Olympic Games, both the Summer and Winter Olympics and other events as well. I think most famously there's Derek Redmond, was it? British athlete who...
I was literally gonna say the only thing that I can think of that sort of compares in terms of like beauty almost is when Redmond pulls his hamstring and his dad comes out the crowd and helps him to the finish line.
Yeah, that was I think, was it 92 that? 92 or 96?
92, Barcelona 92.
Yeah. So as a British athlete who unfortunately injures himself, but then his dad comes home and makes sure he finishes arm in arm. It's a beautiful moment, and it's very similar with the Jamaican bobsleigh team. It's a wonderful moment, and we will link the actual crash into the show notes. And yeah, you should give that a watch. It's beautiful, it's brilliant, and it is the Olympics.
It is the Olympics, man, and like go watch the movie.
Yeah, Cool Runnings. Just watch it. I might watch it. I love it.
Yeah. It's so uplifting. It's such a great movie, and it's such a great story, and that's the reason why it was picked. Because it's a great example of you can't write this stuff.
Yeah, it's a great film when it's all right.
The reason they turned it into a movie is because it was real. It was real.
It was, and character names might have changed, and certain scenarios might have changed, and they might have added bits for drama.
Yeah, a bit of artistic license, sure, but like a little bit of embellishment here or there.
And had to have an enemy in it. Was it the Swiss team?
The Swiss, yeah. Ein, zwei, drei. Push it down the ice.
Yeah. Not as good as Feel the Rhythm, Feel the Rhyme, Give It Up. It's bobsleigh time. Cool Runnings.
No, it's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, mate, it's just an all-timer. It's an all-timer. But we're going to pivot slightly.
Somewhat, yeah.
We're going to leave the Jamaican bobsleigh team there and just talk about a really interesting guy. We don't normally, on these episodes, on these little mini-series, do 2 stories in detail in the same episode, but we just couldn't leave this one out.
No, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a guy called William Meade Lindsley Fiske III, who was an Olympic bobsledder, better known as Billy Fiske, and he competed in the 1928 and the 1932 Olympic Games. And Billy is of the sort of person that you were joking about in terms of the origins of bobsleighing. In St. Moritz. He was born in Chicago to very wealthy parents, and as a consequence of their wealth, he would have the opportunity to go to school in France in the year of 1924.
Ooh la la.
The year of Chamonix, the first games, which, you always need a bit of circumstance and good luck for these stories to really gather pace. He was only 13, and it was whilst he was there that he discovered the sport of bobsleighing. And in 1928, he was the driver of the first 5-man US bobsleigh team to win at the Olympics. And he became, at the time, the youngest gold medalist in any winter sport, not eclipsed until 1992 by Tony Niemanen. He was only 16 years old.
That's crazy.
At the time of the 1928 Winter Olympics, which were held in St. Moritz, as you said, in Switzerland. He then went to England and attended Trinity Hall, Cambridge, the university.
Nice.
And he studied economics and history. Yeah, like just an interesting bloke, and went again in 1932 to the Olympics in Lake Placid back home in USA, where he carried the flag at the opening ceremony. And the format was altered at this point. It was now a 4-man bob, and he prevailed again. Double gold, baby.
Amazing.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. In 1936, he was offered the opportunity to go to a third games, to go for the three-peat. And we know in the modern day, the American loves the three-peat and those sorts of stories. It loves a champion. And maybe Fiske was one of the original guys with an opportunity to achieve that sort of accolade. Perhaps it wasn't as celebrated back then, I don't know. But he had that chance, and I'm sure it wasn't something he probably gave up lightly, because
no,
this guy's a winner.
But he did give it up.
But he did give it up. Why did he give it up, Jack?
He gave it up because he had a moral compass, Ben, and because the 1936 Winter Olympics, as with the 1936 Summer Olympics, were being hosted by Nazi Germany.
So yeah, our Billy doesn't go. He says, no thank you. You can keep your gold medal. I'm a 2-time Olympic champ. I got shit to prove to you. And that was true, because he was also the Cresta champion in the original course in St. Moritz. And he was well known, actually, for dangling from the bar chandelier at the Palace Hotel in St. Moritz. And so when you said earlier, you think that these young men didn't give a damn whether they damage stuff, they just get their checkbooks out. I think you were hitting the nail on the proverbial head.
Yeah, some things never change.
So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. But outside of his bobsleighing career, so in 1936, when he could have been going for gold again, Ted Ryan, the heir of Thomas Fortune Ryan, bought some photographs of some mountains near a particular place called Aspen in Colorado. You might have heard of it. You might have heard of it.
Not been, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. And he showed them to Fiske. He was like, "It's quite a nice place." And they actually wanted him to invest in mining. But Fiske had other ideas. He was like, do you know what? Actually, that looks quite a good place to go skiing.
Weird that.
I'm going to set up a ski resort, which he'd always dreamed of establishing in the United States. And he built a lodge and a ski lift. And so began the origin story of the ski resort of Aspen, which is cool.
Aspen, now one of the more expensive places to buy real estate in the United States. It's so damn popular as a ski resort, and the rich and the wealthy and the notable swarming there during the winter to get their skiing on to this day. Basically, the St. Moritz of America, one could say.
Yeah, great comparison. So this guy's now, just in case you need a recap, he's a 2-time Olympic medalist. He's turned down going for the three-peat on moral grounds because he doesn't like the Nazis, and he set up Aspen Ski Resort. He's an interesting bloke. And does his story finish there? No, of course it doesn't. Otherwise, we wouldn't be telling you it. It carries on. He goes back to London. He's working in a bank, Dillon Reed & Co. But shortly before the outbreak of World War II, he's recalled to New York. So he's back home in America. But on the 30th of August, 1939, he returned to England aboard a ship, accompanied by a bank colleague who was a member of the 601 County of London Auxiliary Air Force Squadron. And he decided, did our Billy, I'm going to join the Royal Air Force.
Despite being American, and Americans being neutral at this point. How did he manage that, Ben?
He pretended to be Canadian.
As you do.
And he joined the Volunteer Reserve and was promoted to the rank of pilot officer. Did all of his training at Bryce Norton, and then was assigned a Hawker Hurricane and joined what would become known as the Millionaires Squadron, which is quite cool. But this is where it gets a bit sad. And you can probably imagine now what we're going to discuss, because there's an inevitability to this, really, with it being World War II. The Battle of Britain starts. Quite a famous battle.
Indeed.
And we were quite outnumbered.
Indeed.
So we were probably quite grateful for Billy and his bravery. And the the 601 Squadron in the RAF was scrambled to intercept a squadron of German dive bombers, and Fiske was flying his Hurricane. The serial number, if you like it, Jack, is
Always.
P3358. And his squadron destroyed 8 Junkers, Stukas basically, which are they the ones that made that horrible noise?
Yes, like dive bombers basically, and they were designed to be like terror bombers basically. So the noise was a design function to basically scare the crap out of everyone on the ground, which obviously they did, because I can't imagine anything much more scary than that. So yeah.
Yeah, awful stuff. So his squadron shot 8 of them out of the sky, but just after 15 minutes of flying, a German gunner put a bullet through Fiske's fuel tank. And his aircraft, as you might imagine, was very badly damaged, and his hands and ankles were burning because there was a fire. But instead of bailing out, Fiske nursed his Hurricane home, gliding over a hedgerow and into an airfield. And although he landed his aircraft safely, basically he had to be extracted from it. And the ambulance attendants were, obviously trying to look after him. Shortly after he was pulled from the aircraft, the fuel tank exploded. He was taken to the Royal West Sussex Hospital in Chichester for treatment, but unfortunately and rather tragically and rather heroically, he died from surgical shock. And he was buried with a Union Jack and a Star-Spangled Banner across his coffin, aged just 29.
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah, he was one of only 9 American pilots to take part in the Battle of Britain. Many pilots from many different nations, most notably Poland, Canada, New Zealand as well produced a lot of pilots, but there was only a handful of Americans. Obviously, this is a time when America was neutral, but these were guys who volunteered anyway, even though it wasn't their war to fight, and obviously he gave the ultimate sacrifice, so yeah.
Yeah, mate, he's the first American to be killed in action in World War II, and his inscription on his gravestone very aptly reads, "He died for England."
Yeah.
The thing is that he arguably had a bigger impact on the war posthumously, because, you know, he was basically killed in his first engagement with the Germans, really. But what happened is that in 1941, in July 1941, we unveiled a plaque at St. Paul's Cathedral, and the inscription read, "An American citizen who died that England might live. His contribution to the war effort posthumously was probably greater because America hadn't yet joined the war."
Yeah.
And a certain Winston Churchill would use his story to inspire and fuel propaganda for American support.
Yeah, as he was good at.
He was very good at it. And then the statue was unveiled at the US Embassy. See, America joined the war. Everyone knows what happened thereafter. Yeah, really cool story, mate.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Amazing. And very well remembered, of course. And just a hell of a story. Like, you talk about someone's life who could be made into a film. Brilliant.
29 as well. Like,
before he was 30. Incredible.
Yeah, like two-time Olympic champ.
Gave the middle finger to the Nazis, saw the most famous skiing resort in the United States, and then died a hero in the Second World War. Incredible.
Yeah, incredible. And now the United States Bobsled and Skeleton Federation have the Billy Fiske Memorial Trophy, which is awarded to the national champion of the 4-man bobsled team each year. So that's quite cool. There's also a foundation, I think, at the University of Cambridge, which is a scholarship, essentially, which funds an American student going to Trinity College to study a master's degree in any subject. So
that's cool. That's very appropriate. I like that.
Yeah. Good legacy, isn't it? Turns out you can do quite a lot if you put your mind to it when you're young and you're rich.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to do good, though. And he did a lot of that, so fair play.
That's very true. The only other thing to give a mention in dispatches to is Debbie Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, well, Debbie Thomas, reason we're mentioning her, just because she's the first black medalist.
Ah, right, yes, of course.
Gold for the USA in the 2-women bob at Salt Lake City. She was the break woman. She always dreamed of going to the Summer Games. If you can't go to the Summer Games, do what the Jamaican bobsleigh did in Cool Runnings. Switch, go to the Winter Olympic Games and make yourself a hero. And that is exactly what she did. And she's made history, so good for her.
The Olympics are the Olympics are the Olympics, and she is an Olympian forevermore.
Exactly. That's bobsleighing.
Love it.
Watch it.
Well, it's always one of the events I will make sure to turn on for, because it is, obviously it has that special place in my heart because of that film I watched over and over again when I was a kid, but it's also just edge of your seat, nerves jangling, high speed, brilliance.
Full throttle stuff, isn't it?
Terrifying.
Except there is no throttle.
No.
It's all gravity.
No, and the brakes barely work either, so at the mercy of gravity.
Unreal. Well, tune in, and then we're gonna transition a little bit in our next couple of episodes to the snow again, specifically racing.
Yep.
And very specifically snowboard cross.
Another great story, yeah.
Chaotic. My favourite event, apart from the downhill.
Yeah, it's always great to watch. It's a simple thought to follow as well. It's just a race. What more could you want?
Just a race.
Just a race. Easy. What could go wrong?
We'll let people make their minds up on the next episode if it is just a race, because it is bananas. But yeah, on the next one.
I'll see you there. Can't wait.
See you in a bit, mate.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for our Winter Olympics series. If you enjoyed what you've heard, please tell a friend about it. We'll be covering everything from speed skating to snowboarding, from ice hockey to figure skating, and much more. There really is something for everyone. Once you've done that, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share or a comment, and tune in for the rest of the series or for one of our 40-odd other episodes on the sporting world as well. Our theme tune is Oh Yeah by Harmonia Productions. You find us on Blue Sky and Instagram at @TheSportingAlmanac. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the games as much as we certainly will. From both of us, goodbye for now.